Welcome to Timber&Terra. I'm Glenn, and it is that time. Snow on the ground, it's cold, roads are starting to freeze up, and it's almost logging season for me, which I generally do just in the wintertime when I don't have to worry about mud or bugs or sweaty hot weather. So the first thing to do is put chains on. I've done this, I think I videoed this at least once before. I do put them on the front and the back, so these are the back ones, and without further ado, let's get going. These sort of links always fascinated me. You do have to have them in the right orientation, and that's not always the same orientation as how the chains want to lay on the tire. You can see they have a slant this way, or a bevel cut, and a bevel cut that way. And they go together just like that. Take up a link and make them as tight as I can. Sometimes it takes driving around a little bit for the chains to sort of set into the tread so that you can get another bite at the apple, so to speak. So that's basically the process. The other wheel's obviously the same. I did mention when I put the chains on that tractor, which are brand new, that the style here is just slightly different. I don't know why they don't decide on one that works. I mean, I like this one. You can see this one just hitches to the chain link like that, and it does have the option to either put some lock wire or maybe a small bolt through there. I've never done that. Never had a problem with this sort of coming undone. But the same sort of lever mechanism here, it has an extra link on here. Now why they just don't have that same sort of loop and just connect it to this link directly, I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason. Alright, well I'll finish tightening up these what I can, put the other one on, then we'll go to the front tires. These wheels don't have an opening like the other one did to put a cinch strap through to sort of hold this end. So I'll just back up, get it under the wheel, and it's a small enough tire. It's really open, it's easy access, so it's not a big deal not to be able to hold that. These have those same kind of links. It's just interesting that these links are square instead of round, like a normal chain link. You can see this also has the same style as the one on the rear tractor tires. Okay, so I'll finish putting the chains on that tire, put them on this tire. Then I want to talk a little bit about chains on all four wheels of a tractor. I've had comments about that before, either challenging me or questioning me, you know, why I do it. They've heard that it's not a good thing to do, so we'll talk about that a bit. So now I have chains all the way around, and I know it's a topic of discussion regarding having chains on all four wheels. I think there's two reasons why you may not want to, or at least in some people's opinion, they may not want to. One is having chains on all four wheels means you have a lot of traction on all four wheels. Similar to using four-wheel drive on pavement, without chains. It just puts a lot of strain, a lot of stress on the drivetrain. And that's true, but in the areas that I use my tractor with these chains, it's generally snow, it's generally relatively slippery conditions. So even with chains on, it's relatively easy for an axle or a wheel to spin and provide a little bit of relief for the drivetrain and not put that much strain on it. So that's my rationale. It's no different than riding on any decent surface without chains, say a gravel driveway, a gravel surface, and certainly pavement or concrete. So I don't have a concern there with the drivetrain, and generally I'm only using four-wheel drive if I need to. Meaning I'm already in slippery conditions. Most of the time I keep it in two-wheel drive. The other reason would be clearance. So, if you turn your wheel sharp, and there's an issue with a chain, hitting the frame there, or hitting the frame back there, or hoses or something, then that can be a concern. But for this particular tractor, there's plenty of clearance. So those are the only two reasons that I can think of why there might be a concern with chains on all four wheels of a four-wheel drive vehicle. The other thing I wanted to mention before we leave the topic of chains and actually getting to do some work here is the right way and the wrong way, or the manufacturer's suggested way and the other way of connecting these chains. I guess these are identical as far as how they attach, but I'll show these. So where the chain sort of disconnects, obviously, are these levers, these clinches here, this shackle, and then these fancy things. So in order to, in fact, here, this particular chain, the way it works, this doesn't have to come off. This just stays with the outer because it breaks right there. But these have to come off in order for you to break the chain and take it off. And this is the way to do it. So you sort of complete this loop. Instead of having a factory link like that, you just have a disconnectable link or a detachable link here, and then you use the shackle here to attach it to whatever this chain is called that sort of goes around the perimeter. Maybe it's a perimeter chain. But in the last, or one of the more recent videos when I put these on, I did this contrary to the manufacturer's suggestions. So you can see here, instead of having this continue on with a detachable link here to sort of replace this factory link, and then the chain continues on here with this shackle. But you can see here, and I'm guessing the tire that I have here is probably on the small side of the range of tires this chain is suitable to fit, because I had a lot of extra links. I had a lot of extra links on this perimeter chain or whatever. But to do it according to their instructions, this is what it would look like. And true to form, they have yet another method of attaching these. I think these are the same brand as the other ones on the big tractor. Aqualine, I think, is the name brand. So what they would have you do instead of the shackle, they would have you use this, which I think they called a plunge link. So basically how this works is you put a link on that side, a link on that side, and then you push this roll pin in and it prevents these from coming out. But then you would have to, you know, push this back out when it comes time to detach it. Because just like those fancy links on the other one, this would have to disconnect. So, you know, one of these studded links I cut off, so there's actually 2 additional links. So that would have you put a link here, and then this shackle would go down here. But as you can see, I don't have a lot of room. I don't really have any room for another shackle. I'd have to have it on this link here, which I guess it would work, but it's just not necessary. I don't think I want to mess with a roll pin every time I put these on or take them off. So I just chose to do that instead. So you can see I have the logging winch on. We're all ready to go, and now let's go do something. Well, we are up here at my hardwood woodlot, which is the one a couple miles from my house. Conditions are good. You perhaps saw on the way in, the ground is a bit soft. It's really not yet frozen underneath the snow because we have cold weather. It's like 5 degrees Fahrenheit above zero here sort of midday. And we've had lots of cold days like this, but because of the snowpack, even though it's only about maybe 6 inches, it doesn't allow the ground to freeze very quickly. So I did not anticipate this. I'm guessing it's hard maple. Looks like it might have been rotten on the backside here. I did bring my chainsaw, but I didn't bring my tools as far as like my log tape. So what I'll probably do is just cut the stump off as best I can. We'll see if this is really rotten, I'll just cut it up and throw it to the side. But if it's worth saving for firewood, I'll just limit and drag it out to the landing, you know, sort of log length or tree length, and then cut it up later when I have my tape with me. So we are down here at the end of the road that I had worked on. In fact, I was here just a couple videos ago with my log trailer, struggling to get out of this very area right there. Tried to turn around up there, and I made it out, obviously, because the trailer's not here, but it was a struggle. So yeah, I wanted to come down here, sort of freeze in the roads, you know, expose the mud, the ground underneath, so assuming this cold weather continues, this will freeze up. If you remember from that video, if you happen to watch it, I left a lot of the logs down here because that's quite a steep hill up there. Well, I'm just going to unload these here. I'd not have any luck trying to load these on in addition to those, I don't think, given the situation that I have now. Like I said, even with the trailer empty, I'm still probably going to struggle getting out of here in this particular spot. But what's good about these is they're sort of off the ground, so if I wait till the winter time after the ground is frozen, these won't be frozen to the ground. They're sitting on either rocks or that root ball, so that'll be fine to come down here in the wintertime and get those. And I was just spinning even with an empty trailer. Look at that, that's quite a rut. It's funny, even though we had this really cold weather, you know how wet and muddy underneath the snow is. So I thought I would try to skid these out. There's a pile here, and they are starting to get buried, so if I can get them out now, that'd be great. I think I have another couple piles up there, but alright, so I think I'm in a good spot there. I think from there on up, it's pretty solid. It's still steep, but it's not nearly the little mud hole down there is in particular, and then this little bit here. I'm not sure how much of this twitch I can take. We'll see. I'll grab as much as I think is reasonable and see what luck I have going up the hill. want to be too greedy. If I can take that up, I'll be happy. Probably about the same amount left in that pile. And then probably, I'd say 2 more twitches towards the front of the tractor. So there's actually 2 logs here, but I can't get underneath that one with the cable. So I have a couple logs there, sort of 90 degrees to these. I'll pull those. Hopefully it'll dislodge this enough where I can get underneath it. Well, I think I'll call that twitch good enough. I'll take this one out. Not because of capacity. I could haul more. But if I have to try to get these out, it'd just be a mess. A tangled mess trying to get these up over those logs there. So I'll come back, grab these few, and then there's more up there on the other side of that little bunch of trees. I think that's everything from this area. Well, this short one, it may slip off that one. I can't get any further underneath there. Hopefully I'll take those few off. It'll help dislodge the other one so I can get underneath. Maybe I'll have better luck if I have the cable on this instead of the chain. Yeah, this problem bundle here might be an issue. I think there's a shorter piece in there somewhere that may slip out, but that's fine. That happens quite often. Just be in the middle of the road, I'll pick it up on another trip back. But I think that'll take care of everything down here. Basically, where that stump is with the snow on top is where that first pile was. Second pile here, and then the last one right here. All right, we'll meet out at the landing. I thought that was suspended off the ground because the other end is on the rocks, but it sounded funny, it felt funny, and there's dirt or a rock under there because now my chain is dull. This is actually the next day. It's a lot more comfortable. I think it's about 15 degrees or so Fahrenheit. So I need to tighten that. So I did bring my tools with me this time. Last time I just had one chainsaw and no tools. I brought an extra chainsaw, which I could have used to finish cutting that log, but I'm gonna sharpen this anyhow, and it's actually not all that uncomfortable out. So I'll just sharpen it. Well, that will put the do it to it for this little project. A fair amount of firewood, I'd say, is probably a little bit better than a cord, maybe a cord and a half. So those are all 16-foot long logs. Before I left last night, basically tracked in the landing here, just rode back and forth, compacted all the snow, and it did start to firm up quite nicely. So instead of just a lot of slush and water, there's actually a fair amount of ice, like right here. That's ice now, but it was mud yesterday. Well, I appreciate you tagging along for this little adventure. I hope you stay tuned for more. Next time probably will be logging. It could be up here, clearing more of the roads, or it could be in the woods behind my house, just doing some timber stand improvement, firewood, saw log removal, as well as just, sort of general weeding of the forest. So thanks again. Hope to see you next time.